Hello everyone, welcome to week 3. I'm in a much better mood this week. Why? Easy. Kickers. You know, kickers are a lot like presidents. Most of them are white. They can get a job even though they're really freaking old. And you usually don't hear about them unless they do something really good or really bad. This week, Eagles kicker Jake Elliott, previously released by the Bengals this year, nailed a game-winning 61-yard field goal with no time left on the clock to give the Eagles the win. You know who's never made a field goal that long in team history? The Bengals. You know who also lost this week because they missed a field goal? The Bengals. Not my problem though. Let's get into the matchups. The defending champs took down the Fighting Blizzards this week, and I got lucky with the kicker here as well, as the Blizz only needed 10 points from his kicker on Monday night to win. On a related note, wide receiver Amari Cooper has been one of the biggest fantasy busts of the year, which has played a large part in why Jacob finds himself alone in last place. After such a weak effort to start the season, the Fighting Blizzards seems too intimidating. So until they climb out of last place, they will now be mockingly ridiculed as the Playful Flurries. Speaking of huge disappointments, the Magic Men were upset this week. Down only 9 points with quarterback Derek Carr left to play, Coach Chad Shake and Baker looked to have wrapped up his third straight win to start the season. Instead, Carr threw 2 picks and barely managed 100 yards. Sad. Next up, the lovable losers abused the Bugs. This one was never close. The real story here, though, is the two defenses in this matchup, giving up a combined 77 points and over 800 yards without a single turnover or even a sack. And what makes this really sad is Casey was the first coach to pick a defense in the draft. Good call on that one, bro. However, Casey did win this week's Better Than Nothing award for tight end Travis Kelce's 1 total yard and .1 points. At least it's better than nothing, I guess. This week's award sponsor is Hand Job Gloves. High quality gloves for any man's hand job. Hand Job, better than nothing. For receiving this week's award, Casey will receive 1 trial-sized bottle of Vaseline lotion for men. Congrats, Case. The Sellouts earned another win this week over the Straight Freaks. Rumor has it sellout Tony Butts even went so far as to root for Jordy Nelson to beat his hometown Bengals in his endless pursuit to sell his soul for fantasy wins. In addition to losing this week, the Straight Freaks and my Eagles lost running back Darren Sproles for the season and possibly his career, as he broke his arm and tore his ACL in the same play. We certainly won't be seeing him again for a while. Speaking of people no one has seen in a while, holy shit guys, Corey won! Team Auto Draft took down previously undefeated Team All Lubied Up. This is a big win for Corey, who will only be relevant for a few more weeks until bye weeks come into play. This week's Coach's Spotlight is Alex Stautberg, coach of the Straight Freaks. Alex, aka Stouty, Rowdy Stouty when he wins and Pouty Stouty when he loses, is currently a student at the University of Cincinnati, where he is studying emotions and the facial expressions of animal crackers. Some of his career accomplishments include occasionally being told he looks like me, being my roommate in 4 different countries, getting this picture of a short Mexican dude dressed as Olaf, and discovering some mysterious ancient Incan stone art. Pretty cool stuff. Stouty was nominated for Homecoming King this year, but doesn't really have a chance since he went to Elder, so no one likes him, and former UC President Mitchell Phelps is incredibly popular and will definitely win. Sorry, buddy. Alright, now it's time for this week's mailbox. First up, Dear Brian, I received all 61 of your thank you notes. You're welcome. Please let the Bengals know I appreciate them releasing me so I could play on a team that actually scores points. Fly Eagles fly, caw-caw! Jake Elliott. You know, Jake, I really cannot thank you enough. That win just made my week. That was awesome. I'm glad the Bengals cut you. Next up, Dear Brian, what's a good price for corn? A pirate. Haha, aren't I funny? Kevin Lugers. Kevin, it's not pirate, it's Buccaneer. Like Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wouldn't really expect you to get that though, because you're more of a football guy than a football guy, as evidenced by your incredibly poor performance the one year I let you in this league. By comparison, I've let Corey stay, and he hasn't even drafted in 3 years. You suck, dude. And finally, hey Schmed, since we lost again last week, I'm seriously considering quitting the team just so I can play in your awesome fantasy league. Let me know if a spot opens up. Your brother, Flanders. For those of you who don't know, NCAA athletes are not actually allowed to play fantasy football, but you do have to be a real athlete, which is why they still let Casey play. As many of you know, in addition to being a fantasy football stud, I'm also an incredibly mediocre flag football player. This week, the NASA interns had their first intramural flag football game, and despite previously not winning an intramural game for 3 years, we actually won. Not surprisingly though, almost every touchdown, interception, and two-point conversion was caught by business interns, rather than the vast amounts of engineering interns. Fellow intern and proud NASA nerd Will Stansikevich was so proud of his first intramural win that he took to Facebook to celebrate. His mom, very proud of her son, commented, "Once again, I am so proud of you. You are among those keeping America great. What you're doing is truly what America is all about." Miss Stansikevich, I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, football is all about having fun. Do you know what's really fun? Winning. And I love winning. See you next week.